Well, if we're gonna find any ghosts, we better split up.
You're listening to Never Split Up, a horror movie podcast.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
Hi everyone, once again to the Never Split Up podcast. My name is Nolan, alongside as always is Anthony. This is episode 89, and we have another special one for you guys. We are covering 28 Weeks Later, released in 2007, and once again, we have Oriana Nichelle on the podcast to cover this awesome franchise. She's going to be covering this one. She covered 28 Days Later with us a few weeks back. And every listeners know that she covered The Loved Ones with us as well. That was her first appearance. So this is going to be another special one. This is going to be released right before 28 Years Later. So if you're listening, hopefully it's before you watch that. And we're probably going to be covering that soon too. So look out for that. But until then, it's 28 Weeks Later. What's going on, Anthony? What's going on, Oriana? How you guys doing?
Good. I'm ready to talk about this film.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Can't wait.
Especially someone's parenting in this film.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So as always, we kind of go into these blind. We don't really know how each other feels about this. We kind of talked about it a little bit, I think, on 28 Days, how we all kind of appreciate this sequel. None of us really hate it, I don't think. But other than that, I'm excited to hear your guys' thoughts. I don't really know much of Anthony's thoughts at all. And of course, Oriana, I don't really know much of your thoughts. So we just talked before we started recording. We did our rewatches, so it's fresh in our mind. We're excited to go. Before we get into the movie, Ant, you had some housekeeping. I think you wanted to announce poll result, correct?
Yeah. So guys, we wrapped up our Final Destination coverage. Thank you so much for sticking with us through covering all the movies. And we did our ranking episode, so we ran a poll about what your favorite premonition was. Nolan picked Final Destination 3, and I picked Final Destination 2. And Final Destination 2 did come out on top. Thank you guys for voting. We received a really good amount of votes. And then for our ranking, it's funny because our ranking's kind of similar. It's just I have my top 2 are different than your top 2.
Yeah.
So pretty much I won by 4 votes. So that's how close, because your favorite's 3 and my favorite was 2. My top 2 was 2 and 1. Your top 2 was 3 and 2. So 4 votes. 4 votes. So tight. So everyone has their favorites, but thank you guys for checking that out. And check out our favorite horror chase scene episode if you haven't yet. I ran the poll for that, and we're getting a lot of feedback. So go check out that episode. We'll release those results next week. And yeah, just stick with us. We have a lot of goodies coming up.
Yes, we do. That's an understatement. We were just, again, talking before we recorded how many awesome releases are coming out for this summertime. We're definitely feasting this summer, starting right away with 28 Years Later. It's going to be a good summer for us horror fans.
Oh, good. Stoked.
Real quick, I know it's your third time on, Oriana, but do you want to just shout yourself out, shout out your channels if anyone isn't familiar with you?
Oh, yeah. I go by Oriana Nichelle on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. I post I cross-platform on YouTube with shorts, but mostly anything you can find mainly on TikTok, where I do all of my goodies, especially my weekly series that I talk about all the new horror movies that are releasing that week. Big budget, micro budget, and yeah.
Yeah, if you're a fan of the horror genre, definitely check her out and her channels. She's got everything covered for you. New releases, movie reviews, she's got everything. So thank you again for being on this podcast. It's going to be a good time. Okay, let's get into, I guess, overall thoughts. Before we get started on the movie itself, let's do a little refresher. And guys, if you didn't listen to the 28 Days Later episode, I recommend you do that because it was really a fun time. Do you guys remember your scores for 28 Days? They were all pretty high. Mine was, I believe, a 9.3, which is pretty high for me. What was yours, Anthony?
Mine was an 8.
It was an 8. Okay.
Yeah, I think Oriana's was a 10. No,
I think mine might have. Mine is either 9.9 or 10.
Yeah.
I think it was a 10.
I'm pretty sure it's a 10. Yeah.
So we were kind of we all love the movie, but we were a little across the board on the scores. So I can't wait to see our scores for this movie because this is definitely the more divisive movie of the two, I would say. in terms of how people feel about this film. Who wants to go first? Talk about overall thoughts. Well, before we do that, Ant, let's cover the cast and crew and the synopsis like we normally do.
Yeah, okay, so I'll give you guys the IMDb synopsis. 6 months after the rage virus was inflicted on the population of Great Britain, the U.S. Army helps to secure a small area of London for the survivors to repopulate and start again. But not everything goes according to plan. It was directed by Juan Carlos Fresnadillo. I haven't seen. He has like a lot of shorts and a lot of TV series, and he directed a movie called The Intruders, which I think I saw, but I can't remember it. So he's kind of like, this is his most notable directing gig, and it has a stacked cast. It stars Imogen Poots, who was in the Black Christmas movie we will not talk about.
She's also in
Rose
Green
Byrne.
Green Room.
Oh yeah, she's Green Room. She's in a lot of movies, but
yeah.
I have this. She stars in that Black Christmas movie. I'm like that.
That's the same.
Love Green Room though. Love it. Rose Byrne, Jeremy Renner, Robert Carlyle, Idris Elba, Catherine McCormick. Yeah, we have a very big cast compared to the first one, so it's going to be fun to compare that. Like Nolan said, it came out in 2007. It did well. The budget was a little bit higher than the first one. It was $15 million, which to me is like super low considering like when you watch the movie how big it gets. And it made $66 million worldwide, so not as successful as the first one, but it was still made its money back. Plus some. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. I love me sequel talk, so I can't wait to get into it.
Okay. Oriana, since you are a guest, I'll let you kind of pick. Do you want to go first and do the honors and talk about your overall thoughts, or do you want one of us to go?
First.
Go ahead.
I love this sequel. I think this is a good sequel to follow 28 Days. It adds a new storyline that it goes with the, before we had the new rage virus, and now we're going and shifting into this new kind of little community that they've built in this world, and then seeing how people who have experienced, what was going on in 28 Days, and now they're like, so I'm thinking about the kids going back out into the world and kind of bringing things back. But I feel like as far as a sequel, it holds up. It holds up to follow, 28 Days. And I don't have too many criticisms about it. There are, some choices. I feel like it's more action-packed than the first film. I feel like the first film really kind of has this looming dread. And this film, I don't feel like the looming dread. I just feel like there is a lot happening, but it still makes me super anxious. So overall, I love this sequel, and I think I couldn't imagine how they would have continued this story and still make it super interesting without following the exact same patterns as 28 Days.
Okay, cool. I guess I'll go next, and I'll save you for last. I really like this movie too. I really enjoy this sequel. You said, Oriana, how it doesn't really have that looming dread. I think it's because it's so in your face. But this movie is freaking depressing. I mean, it is so depressing. There's so much death and destruction. Pretty much, not to spoil too much, but pretty much everyone dies in this movie sooner or later. I agree with you. I thought it was an interesting approach. I thought they went in a different direction and they took a swing, and I think they pulled it off. I think this movie has lasting power because of its cast, especially now that you have guys like Idris Elba, who are kind of like borderline A-list actors. Who he wasn't an A-list actor back then, but now he's got that star power. He's not in it much, but it kind of adds that level of, I don't know, whatever to the film to give it that lasting power. I like the top-down approach. Like you said, Oriana, the first movie kind of focused on just survival, and it was kind of on the ground level. This is kind of more of a top-down approach with the military and everything, and kind of seeing the operations of how they're trying to rebuild the island. I think that's really cool. It's not a perfect movie. I think there are some flaws. I think the biggest flaw for me is the characters are very hit and miss. I think not all of the characters work, and I feel like I have some theories on why that is. I think maybe the biggest reason is I think the way the plot is structured, particularly with Rose Byrne's character. She's amazing, Rose Byrne. I mean, we love Rose Byrne. I think she should have been the main in this film, and it should have started with her in the beginning and kind of finished with her. I mean, it kind of does. She's in most of the movie, but I think she should have been the main POV, and I think that would have helped glue everything together, especially the little like ragtag group we get in the middle of this film. But it's not a huge, it's just kind of a nitpick because 28 Days Later had such great characters. I'm gonna unfairly compare it to that first film, and that's maybe why I'm being a little bit critical of that. But yeah, this movie has the goods. Like I said, it's super depressing. It's got some great sequences in it that are spine-tingling, action-packed, like you said, Oriana. Some are legitimately scary. There's one at the end of this film that freaked me out the first couple times I saw this movie. And yeah, the opening is amazing opening. We were talking about our favorite chase scenes. It's up there with one of the best chase scenes of all time. I know, Oriana, you mentioned that it's one of your favorite chase scenes of all time. I love that opening. We can get into it more when we're done with our overall thoughts, but I think it helps bridge the gap between the first movie and this movie. So I thought that was a really effective way to do that. And yeah, this movie's just a lot of fun. Like you said, Ann, it's got a lot of star power, and it's amazing how little budget they had, because it definitely feels like a much bigger film than what it was, for sure, with all of the effects and everything. I think it was done very tastefully, though, with the CGI. Like, it was very quick, and it didn't linger too much, so it kept it believable. The score is awesome in this. It goes from the first movie to this movie beautifully, and that's what helps connect the two movies, I feel like, and makes it feel like the same universe. It opens up the lore more, especially with the infected and the rage virus. I like that. They didn't go too overboard, but it adds some layers, which I want to talk about. And yeah, this is just a fun movie. How about you, Anthony? What's your opinion?
Guys, I fucking love 28 Weeks Later so much. It's so damn good. It is cliche, but it's like the aliens to alien. It's the collection to the collector. It just goes batshit insane crazy. And I remember the first time I watched it, I'm like, oh, they are just going completely different than the first one, which I appreciated, because I feel like it was so good what they did in the first one. I didn't need that to see it being like copied and repeated again. I wanted them to do something different. And it makes sense what they would do, 28 weeks later versus 28 days later when it's so fresh. I think that I appreciate, obviously, the characters in the first one are way more memorable and iconic, but this one, like pure entertainment value and horror, blood, mayhem, this one takes the cake for me for like rewatchability as far as entertainment goes. And I see people complain about like, oh, it's just big Hollywood movie, you have all these big stars. I'm like, well, Rose Byrne, Jeremy Renner, and Idris Elba, just like you said, Nolan, they were kind of just getting started. So they weren't these A-listers these are today. So it wasn't like a big Hollywood production. It was still had that 28 days feel, but it's just the natural progression of what would happen in, in real life within the scenario, what's going on next. I love how the opening scene has a ripple effect throughout the entire movie. This is someone who, like, I'm hit or miss with kids in movies. I do like the choice that we're following through them, because they have to deal with some, like Nolan said, very dark and emotional and traumatic things that happen throughout the movie. So I like that we follow them. The little kid, the little boy, what's his name again? I can't remember his name, but Andy. He has some really, Andy, right? Andy?
Oh, yeah.
He has some cool sequences, some cool chase scenes in tunnels and stuff. I just think this is just a horror blast of a movie. I mean, you have a helicopter chopping up, the infected. It's just gnarly and crazy. There are sequences, I've felt so much suspense, especially when you get to after they start exterminating, and it's pretty much a long chase at the end. I love the night vision scene at the end with Rose Byrne and the kids. We'll get to that. I just think this is what I want in a sequel. It's bigger, but it's not abandoning everything that came in the first one. It's just enhancing it. And it's not like, I don't want to have the vibe of the first one. I don't want the indie feel. We want to be the big bad sequel, but we're going for it. They succeeded, and I really, 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 I really love this movie. I fuck with it a lot, and I'm not gonna lie. I do rewatch it more than the OG, for sure.
Okay.
So I can't wait to get
there we
into
go.
it.
I think you kind of alluded to that last time when you said that 28 Days wasn't as rewatchable. I think me and Oriana kind of disagreed with you, but you kind of alluded to that. So I'm not totally surprised that you said that this is more rewatchable. So, and it makes sense. I mean, this is just a ton of fun. I mean, it's nonstop, wall to wall. I rewatched it twice over this past week, and I had a good time both times. So yeah, it's definitely fun for sure. Okay, Well, we got that out of the way. So it's a recommend from all three, I believe, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's talk about
friggin' Don.
this opening scene. Oriana, what makes this opening scene and this opening chase so effective for you?
Scares the shit out of me.
There you go.
Because that is like that right there. He's getting chased by the herd, and he has to like pulling the like boat. That it gives me that same anxiety that the first one gave me of like on the edge of my seat, and like that's how we're opening this film, is just like already putting me in flight mode. Like, oh my god, I don't. And it starts off with, you know, you're seeing all of these people and they're in the house, and you know something is about to happen, and then you get the knock on the door with the young boy, and you're just like, you still feel like something is about to happen, and then it just hits you, and it's just so fast. And yeah, the opening, and it's like one of my favorite chase scenes. It's just makes your heart just, you're like, make it, but you're an asshole, but make it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I know, it scares me. And even watching it, rewatching it, I'm always just like, so afraid. I would never want to, I would die. I'm not that fast of a runner. Especially, I would die. Like, yeah. So for me, it's just scary, and it makes my adrenaline go up. But
he had to run a long way too to get to that dock.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he did. And then once he was in there, all of them like
swimming. Yep.
Nope, no oars to like bash.
No, you're right. It's terrifying, and it's so well done. You're morally conflicted. You want this guy to kind of make it out, but at the same time, you're like, wait a minute, do I want this guy to make it out?
Asshole, yeah.
You see how he treats his wife, and it's not like his wife. Typically, when you get scenes like this in movies like this, you'll have the wife get cornered, and then she'll tell him to like save himself. It's not like that. She's telling him like, save me, come back to your wife. And where are you going? You know, so, and he just leaves her, and you're screaming at the TV. You're like, you coward. But then like once it sinks in with you, you're like, can you blame him?
Right?
You can blame him, but it's like, it's a little unfair too, because you never know how you're going to react in a situation like that. So it's almost a little unfair to blame him, but at the same time, you're like, damn, what a scumbag. And you know they have kids. So, you know, that's just another layer. It's like, does he want to live for the kids? But we see later on in the movie, I mean, he's a total, just, I think, scumbag and not a great dad. So,
or fathers.
Yeah.
He's on the list. He's on my list.
I love how we're just thrown into it right away. That's what I love so much about this opening. There's no time wasted. And like you said, it's like we have first of all, don't let the kid in. I mean, I know he's a kid and needs help, but come on, that just triggered everything. That's their downfall right there. You got to stay strong in these situations. You're dealing with, you know, an apocalypse, an outbreak. Stop letting kids in just because they're kids. Let them die. I'm sorry.
I don't think so. I think they were fucked either way, to be honest. The kid brought all of those infected with him.
He literally, yeah. I mean, I guess they're leading that way anyway. But I like how you said it's just because as a viewer, we're so quick to judge because we're just observing. We're not in the situation. So you're like, of course, like, don't leave her. Go help her. That's your wife. She's banging on the window, begging you for help. And you're making the decision to leave when you could technically try to fight. You might go down with her, but it's not like like Nolan says, she's like, go save yourself. We have kids. She's like, no, begging for help. So I really love, I mean, again, I like when things get dark and they make it a little more tragic for us, and that really goes there. But like you said, we can blame him for leaving. And again, later, I hate him more because of what he does like later in the movie than the opening scene. But when you're sitting back, you're like, unless you're in that moment, I would like to think that I would go back and save my wife or save my family members, whoever. But unless you're in it, it's like the adrenaline's going. So obviously he didn't want to leave her, but he made that choice. But I like how they have that moral gray area with him for the first 30 minutes until we find out really the type of person, you know, he really is. So I think it's such an expert, you know, dilemma to provide the audience if this is a character we're going to be following. And then I love the chase when you see him just running down the yard and just everyone's just swarming after him. And then when you get in the boat, of course, the classic, he can't start the boat, and then they start swimming after him. It's so suspenseful, so good. So, I mean, opening scene wise, this is like one of the best of the 2000s. One of my favorites, honestly, of all time, probably. So I think it starts with a bang, and the movie really doesn't let up. So it lets you know that we're not in for a character-driven movie really as much. We're in for a fast-paced, let's get to it, with some cool character moments, but we're just ready pedal to the metal. And I love that about this movie. So it starts off with a bang.
I also think this is very effective, the way they open this movie, because it reminds the viewer how vicious these infected are and how the rage virus just doesn't give a fuck. Especially when you get later on in this movie and we have the code red and we have kind of the killing spree. It kind of makes it a little bit like you're a little conflicted. And I think this was a good way to remind us just how fucked this virus really is. So when that does happen later on in the film, we kind of aren't as, black and white with it. I think this movie handles the gray area very well in terms of like moral dilemmas. You have Idris Elba's character, his General Stone, I guess his name is. That's what it says on Google. I mean, he's one way. He thinks one way. You have Rose Byrne's character, Scarlett, is thinks differently because she's a scientist. But I think it really tackles those themes very well.
That you understand all the perspective. They really lay it out where like every perspective and everyone's mindset, like it makes sense. Just depends on who you agree with, but everyone, you can agree with everyone. They all have an argument. So I appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
I also think that in the beginning, it kind of foreshadows his character of like how he's going to be later on in the film. Just in that moment of like leaving his wife. Yeah. And then we're throughout the film, we're discovering, oh, well, you're not really just a coward. You're also kind of just a liar. And then I have my theories about when he actually turns.
That's such a good scene.
Yeah. That's such easy.
Horror. That is horror.
But his character, even with the rage virus, has been shitty the entire film. And it's just like the rage virus amplifies that for him. And I think we just get a little glimpse at the beginning of this is the kind of person that he is without all of this like virus.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we get it now that we get more into like the opening of the setting and everything. We see the zones. He reunites with the kids and he's all great. He's like this perfect guy. He's like in charge of everything. But like you said, Oriana, when the chips are on the table and things goes to shit, he is kind of scummy. and
he's an asshole because he tells him, he's like, I watched her die. You didn't have to go to that. Again, you don't want to tell your kids that you left their mother to die, but he says, I saw her stop breathing. Like, I saw her take her last breath. Don't say that. Just say, unfortunately, mom got stuck back, but it's so bad.
The bigger thing that bothers me is the fact that he clearly never went back to check on her. Not to that house, not to their house, because she was living in their house. So he just went to the quarantine zone and never even attempted. I mean, we see how easily the kids escape the sector. I mean, they just crossed the bridge. I mean, it was like nothing. So he definitely could have, especially with his all-access key card or whatever, he definitely could have attempted to at least confirm that she was dead or try to, like, see if he could, like, save her. But no, he didn't do any of that. That was what kind of bothered me the most.
It's because he's selfish.
He's the classic person where he thinks that he puts everyone else before him, but he only really cares about himself. I'm pretty sure that if his kids were left there, or if he made it before being turned, that put in the same scenario, he would have left his kids and done the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we get our setting now. We get all the sectors. We get introduced to some of our military guys. We have Sergeant Doyle, played by Jeremy Renner. I love Jeremy Renner so much.
Badass.
This guy, I mean, sometimes we forget that this guy's I think he's a 2-time Oscar-nominated actor. He's phenomenal. I mean, he's more than just an action star. He is so good on screen. He's one of my favorites.
And this is a very early
this
role.
film. Yeah, I mean, I think this was the first film that I saw him in.
Yeah.
First big movie for him. We have him and we have his buddy, Flynn, the helicopter pilot. I love Flynn. He's a great little side character. Yeah.
He's in Lost, right? He's in other stuff, too. Yeah. I think he's in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, he's a familiar face. So, yeah, we get those two. We have the cool scene. I like this scene where it's nighttime and they're kind of checking on everyone. and he's like, I think the line he says is "What's on TV tonight?" and he's looking through all the windows. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
peeking in the window. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But okay, so we get introduced to Scarlett, played by Rose Byrne, and
My
we
girl.
find out that our kids, Tammy and Andy, are the first, I guess, kids arriving on the island. I thought this was a very quick, very short scene, but this was pretty effective. The way kind of Scarlett is a little, wary of kids on the island. You have the scientific approach compared to General Stone's character, who's kind of all military, and he's like, no, we got this under control. Like, we can let kids in. I think that's kind of setting the stage for what's to come, obviously.
Oh, sure.
I mean, she had her reasons to be worried. Look at what they did right off the bat was
Mhm.
sneak out, and then they had to like use their military to go get them back.
Yeah.
You know,
Damn kids.
Yeah.
I
Damn
know.
kids.
If it wasn't for honestly, if it wasn't for them breaking out, I think that the sectors would have still been intact.
Yeah.
Didn't they say he's the youngest one too, right? They mentioned that he's like the youngest kid or youngest
Yep.
person they own, at least where they are.
Yeah, I believe they say they were the first kids on the entire island since he was the youngest. Yeah, he was the younger one. So, yeah, I mean, they escaped so easily. I mean, it's
was
like
bad.
there's maybe
Really
like one guard on the bridge and they just go right behind them and just, I'm like, really? I don't know. I mean, I get it. It's like, all right, let's move it forward. We don't have to have a 10-minute montage of them escaping, but that was kind of
I don't want to waste my time with that. I did not want to waste my time with that.
Yeah.
But they did what their dad should have done and went back to the. I mean, I know they went to get a photograph because they think she is dead, but they had the courage of their mother and not their father, obviously.
Yeah. I think this movie really highlights how many holes there are in like an emergency operation like this that's quickly put together. They talk, it's like NATO forces. I think it's led by the United States, but
NATO, yep.
not only do they let them out so easily, but what the hell is Don is the father, right? That's his name, Don.
Yep.
Why does he have full access? Why is he a facilities manager? That should not be a civilian role. That should be definitely. I mean, the army has like engineers, like and stuff. They could have taken over. So it's weird that like a civilian had all that access and all that responsibility. I thought that was kind of interesting, but it kind of highlights, under emergencies like this, when they're trying to rebuild society so quickly, things fall through the cracks and maybe they do stuff that looking back, you probably shouldn't do. But I always think that's funny that they just handed this guy pretty much the keys to the kingdom. And I think that's the main reason why, obviously, the outbreak started is he just has full access to everywhere, like even the medical facilities. It's like, what? Well, how the hell did he get access to that, And no guards either. No guards anywhere.
No guards.
Not when the kids escape, not when he's trying to get after his wife. I mean, it's like a ghost town.
I was just like, well, if you like just brought, I mean, I'm jumping ahead, but I'm like, if you just brought someone in, why would you not have at least 5 guards posted?
Yeah, I know. One guard. I would have multiple, but yeah, one guard. I mean, they think she might be infected. I get they didn't confirm it right away, but it's like, what are we doing?
But that's still a possibility.
Right.
Yeah, so that was.
Well, I think it just speaks to what you said is how we all have all this funding and we're all emergency situations, but it just shows how like poorly prepared in reality when shit hits the fan we really are. Yeah, so it's
and it's kind of a footnote. We didn't even talk about kind of the montage that happens after the opening, where it goes from 28 days to 12 weeks to 20 weeks. It kind of highlights how quickly they kind of put this together. I think it's said in the montage that after 24 weeks was when they started rebuilding, and now we're at 28 weeks. So they started rebuilding, and 4 weeks later, we now have like tens of thousands of people on the island. It's like, that is very quick for a rebuild, So it's definitely, it was definitely hastily thrown together, and I think they kind of wanted you to think that with that whole montage and everything. Yeah, so let's get back to the kids escaping. This was a pretty cool scene. It kind of reminds me of 28 Days Later. We get more of the rural aspects of the UK, and they're going through the town, and they get the moped, and they're driving on the moped. I thought this was very reminiscent of the first film.
Mm-hmm. Agree. But it also still made me anxious because I was like, it's too nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
It's just like that nice car ride in the
What's gonna
beginning,
happen?
or in the first one, where you're just like, why are you stopped here sleeping outside? And then I'm like, why are you lingering so much in the house? Go away now.
And why are you splitting up in the house? Come on, never split up. Come on now, what are we doing here? Stick together.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys think that? I know we watched a lot of movies, but did you think that they were gonna find her infected, dead, or alive when you first saw it? Do you remember like the first how did you think the plot was gonna play out with the mom? Because obviously she was gonna pop up when they went back.
I thought they were going to find her infected, like completely infected. And then maybe she'd probably eat one of them.
Right.
But I did not expect to find her how she was, just seemingly fine, but in a very kind
delirious,
of delirious, like regressed way, because she was like terrified. Obviously, you just dealt with like rage zombies biting at you and coming like feasting on everyone in front of you, and you're survived, but you don't know how, and you're all alone. So I feel for her. I feel because she looks terrified.
I did think that they were going to find her, and it was going to confirm that the father lied. Because I did pick up in the scene when he's telling the kids that he specifically saw her get bitten and get infected. So I knew that was going to come back to, quote, no pun intended, bite him in the ass. But I don't remember if I specifically knew she was going to be alive or not. But I thought this was super creepy. I love how she's just kind of like in shambles. A little unrealistic to me. It's only been about 6 months and she's like living with maggots and stuff. I get she's alone, but I feel like 6 months is kind of quick for someone to deteriorate that fast. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Unless you're trying to maybe say because she's infected, it's kind of making her a little bit more feral. Like she's still in there, but she's maybe a little bit more feral than a normal person.
I think that's kind of the reasoning of why she's kind of like that, is because she's infected. Yeah. And also, like, it feels like because she is not completely infected, that she's just stuck in transition of like becoming fully infected. So she's just stuck, and that's kind of like, I mean, where would our brain be trying to fight off a virus while a virus is taking over? Your brain kind of would just be like, I don't know.
I almost think it's more of I want to say asymptomatic. That brings me back to like 20 times. But like she is asymptomatic, but I almost think it's more of the mental stress it probably put on her for being left there that put her into that state than the virus alone, because we do find out, obviously, that she's a carrier, but like I said, she's asymptomatic. So I think it was more all like emotional distress versus anything with the virus, because, she's the only hope when they go back. And I thought that when I first watched it, I thought it was be really tragic where the dad said that he watched her die, because they really put emphasis on he watched her die, and the kids were going to have to be the actual ones to kill her in that moment and then go back. So I thought that the twist that she is infected, but she's not one of them, was really, really cool, because the fallout of that just really is, and it makes it even more heartbreaking to what eventually does happen to this poor woman when she's put through being alone for so long, and what eventually happens to her when she's literally restrained and has to wait to die by the person who is supposed to love her the most, left her, and then kills her. I'm like, oh, they couldn't have done, I mean, for my dark heart and like love my tragic horror movies, they couldn't have gone more darker. And I absolutely thought it was a banger. We'll get to that scene, but I'm like, oh, this poor woman, she really is the one who goes through so much in this movie.
Also, probably dealing with, he left her. She asked for to stay, and he just left her and never came back for her.
So my theory is just mentally really fucked, and that's why it's all like craziness like that for her. Poor woman.
Yeah, I definitely think she's probably the most sympathetic character in the film. I mean, it's so heartbreaking. She survives on her own and finally makes it back to her kids. Doesn't even see her daughter. Yeah. We don't even bring that up. She only gets to hug her son for a few seconds, and then doesn't even see her. I don't even think she made contact with her daughter because the military came.
I think like through the window they may have seen, but no, direct.
No, I looked for it.
No, I don't think she saw
the
daughter.
The husband. Yeah,
the husband. Yeah, but then she never saw the kids again after that house scene. So, yeah. I love this part when they tell Don, they're like, we found your kids and we found your wife too. His face is so funny. He's like, oh, fuck. And he just books it right to her. I mean, he's not wasting
Right.
any time. He goes directly to her.
He's like, don't say it, please. He's probably like, please don't say
I think
shit.
he meets with the
Don't
kids
say
first, and they kind of
Yeah,
bitch him
no,
out.
he does. He does.
Yeah,
Well,
and-
I
yeah.
like that you have this scene, like you said, the daughter doesn't see the mom, but she still has her mom's back, and we get the benefit of seeing her be like, you told us that you watched her die. She confronts the dad right away. So that shows, like, even though we don't get to see it, kind of shows the relationship them two might have, because she's immediately like, team mom, you fucking left her. Like, you said you watched her, and you didn't. So she's already, like, on guard with the dad immediately, which I really respect. I like that choice that the writers and director made.
And to
And great
Ori's
acting. Imogen
point,
Poots is so good.
to Ori's
Yeah.
point, I think this scene is vital because this might explain him while he's infected going after his kids. I think he's going after the kids just like he kind of got revenge on his wife mostly because of this scene, because he blames them, he blames the wife, he's super selfish, and he wants to get revenge on his family. So he's just not a great guy. Yeah. And like you said, the virus amplifies that, which I love.
Yeah, he's just
I mean-
awful father. Awful husband, awful father, awful person.
Awful person. He's so good in the scene though, and when he kills, it's so good. It's so demented that when he does start turning, oh my god, I love it.
Yeah, so he confronts her and he starts immediately pleading his case. She's just staring at him. And then I love this part. As soon as she says, I love you, Don, I'm just like, oh, here we go. Like, you know it's coming. You're like, oh my God, here we go.
And it's
he
sad
just
because
hook, line,
we're-
and sinker. He just buys it right away.
Do you think
It's
she
so
knew she was infected?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because then that makes this next scene with the kiss of death.
Yeah, because I
like
mean,
more
we see she got bitten. She knew she got bitten, so I think she had 6 months to figure out that okay, I got bitten. I should be infected. I probably am. There's something wrong with me, but I do. I guess she probably figured it out. I think, yeah.
And we're confirmed with Rose Byrne's character that she is a carrier, but
Yep.
asymptomatic before that sequence. So it's
Like at the same time, really.
yeah, it's pretty much simultaneously happening. So, but do you think she knows she's infected and she doesn't think that she's just immune? Like, you think that she knows she's a carrier, or you? So I don't know. I go. Back
I think
and forth
so
with that
because
scene.
she has those moments. You say that she's asymptomatic. I would say no because we go back to the scene where she's hugging what's his name, Andy, and she kind of gives him that death grip, and it's like she wants to bite him. So I think she has those lapses. Like Oriana was saying, she's fighting the virus. So I think she is conscious. I'm gonna roll with the fact that she knows that she has the virus and she probably is a carrier. And even if she doesn't 100% know, I think this scene is very intentional and she was trying to get him.
So you think she kissed him to infect him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, absolutely.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you think
she
differently?
No, I just when I wish she didn't because it's her downfall.
know.
It's literally
No, I don't think so. I say good for you, girl. I feel so bad
well,
for
no,
her.
but it's not. It's so bad for her because when she does it, it just leads him to brutally torture that poor woman.
No, I mean, it was, that obviously. But when she does it, I'm just like, you know what? He deserved it. And I
She
know that's
says,
what
I love
caused.
you and all that and everything, and then she's just.
So you think she
obviously
meant
there's-
it? I think that was a ploy. I think she was.
No, I
tricking
think
him
that
the whole
she has
time.
very conflicted feelings because she probably does. I mean, it's her husband, but I also think she's like, "Fuck you." I think I think she's really mentally unstable even in that moment. She doesn't fully know 100% what she's doing.
Okay. Yeah. No. I
It's
think
just,
she's.
ugh.
I think she knows what she's doing. I think she's trying to get him. I think that was all just to lure him in
Man.
close. How do you feel, Oriana?
It's
Where
so
do you land
stupid.
on that?
It's
I
such
feel
a
like
stupid
she
decision.
did it on purpose. I do feel like she did it on purpose because the fact that he left her and she's had 6 months
Yeah.
to think about this, and the rage virus is inside of her. So there is something like more like, one, it's already upsetting he left you, but two, you also have a virus that's amplifying that, that's probably leaning into more of revenge feelings
Yeah.
and just kind of want to get back at him. And maybe she isn't completely considering that it's going to mean her demise, because
Yeah.
if he turns. So I think that because, she's not mentally all there, so she maybe didn't fully think it through, but I definitely think she purposely infected him without realizing that, oh, wait, he's probably gonna.
What has happened? I'm like, girl, wait till you're not restrained to do this at least.
Well,
No!
I mean,
You are literally tied to this bed.
I mean,
Fight for yourself.
I can't really blame her because as a viewer, and I don't know about you guys, this is breaking news in terms of how the rage virus affects people. So he gets infected, right? He does his transition. He starts banging his head on the glass, whatever.
So good.
And then he turns and he sees his wife and he murders her.
Oh, because he's pissed.
But she's
With the-
already infected. We've never seen that before. Usually people get bit and they just start running for people that aren't infected. They don't usually fight each other. So this is a new development to where there is something inside of these people. Like they are still in there.
Mhm.
They're not just completely taken over and they're not mindless creatures. They do still have feelings, and we do kind of get that later on too, I think in the subway scene at the end. But yeah, he's still in there and he sees the wife and he's like, oh, F you, I'm going to kill you because you just infected me. So I think that's a new revelation that we've never seen before. And I love how they kind of added this wrinkle into this movie, which I hope they add to, they explore more in 28 years later.
Yeah, we get two new things in this scene. We get the scene or the more knowing that they're aware of what they're doing a little bit more, because he's full on vengeful now. The way that he brutally murders her with like pushing his thumbs into her eyeballs. I remember like watching that scene and I was like, oh, it's so fucking good. Like, you are such an asshole. But that scene is just so good. And then you also learn that, oh, well, someone can be immune. This could possibly be, people can actually.
There might be a cure.
Might be a cure. So it's like we learned two things in this film, or in this scene specifically. And it's just, so we're getting a new piece of information. And I love this scene.
She sells it so well with the fear on her face too, right before he gouges her eyes out. Like, oh no. And she's just helpless. She's literally helpless because she's restrained. She cannot do anything. So I can just not, overstate how well choreographed and how well it plays out and how it's bloody. This is where it's like the first one, it was gruesome, but it was more like character-driven horror. This one is just all of the above. It's like you have that moment, but it's just like, we're going to give you the gore and we're going to give you the goods times 10, and it's just going to be in your face. Oh, it's so good. I love it.
Speaking of the cure, at the same time, we mentioned that Scarlet is running the blood and she's talking with General Stone. How do you guys feel about this interaction? Where do you land on this whole interaction? Do you agree with Stone? Do you think they should just eliminate the threat? Or do you agree kind of with the scientist Scarlet, like, no, we need to keep her alive and preserve her and maybe find like a vaccine? Where do you guys land? Because again, because we get that opening scene that to remind us how freaking deadly this thing is, it makes you think. Like normally you'd kind of side with the person who's being reasonable in Scarlet, but you kind of maybe agree with Stone. And obviously, I mean, we see what happens, shortly after. But how do you guys feel about this scene? I thought this was pretty interesting too.
I agree with Scarlet. However, I do agree with Stone, because what Scarlet does after is saving the kids because they might have the possible genetic immunity to them. So maybe take out the mom who is infected just to kind of keep the community safe. But at the same time, we don't know if the kids carry the immunity at this point. We don't know. So she's vital in maybe saving, so many people that I have to go with the scientist. Like, I understand keeping everyone in that sector safe, but it didn't really work. So might as well try to find it.
Yeah. I'm usually on the side like, yo, let's eliminate the threat, take it out. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Double tap.
But in this instance, yeah, exactly. In this instance, she has the results that she's a carrier, but she's not, raging. So she already has this, she already is like, oh, this could be the cure. So I think that keep her alive, but like that room has to be get 50 guards on that room and don't let anyone in. Like, what are you doing? Or if the husband was in there, you needed like 5 guards in there as well. Like they didn't take the proper precautions. But I am on the side of Rose Byrne's character, and I would have been like, science comes first, because obviously this could be huge for our future of the civilization.
It's so heartbreaking too because she wants to do the right thing. She tries to save her, and then she tries to save Andy. And not to jump too far ahead, but that's what kind of spreads the virus off the island in the end too. So it's like, oh man, she wanted to do the right thing, and
her heart's in the right place.
Her heart's in the right place, but if Andy dies, it's probably contained by the end of it all. So it's tough. It's just really depressing and bleak. I'm glad that she died at the end of this film, so she couldn't see the results.
So brutal too.
Yeah.
She meant well, but I mean, again, in this, it's adding another real element that humans aren't perfect. We're not going to make perfect decisions in these scenarios, and it's just like we're kind of all just going by the minute to minute, at least in that scenario. So she her, logically, and she was in the right place. It's just maybe not the right containment or not the right like
and to Stone's credit, her heart's in the right place, and maybe in a perfect world everything's buttoned up and we can keep it contained, but Stone he's a general. He probably knows like when shit hits the fan, like you got to just eliminate all threats. So I kind of see both sides of it. Okay, now we get into the outbreak.
Just fucking insanity.
And this is what makes this movie as a sequel so unique because, in the first movie, 28 Days Later, we never saw day 0 or day 1. We kind of jump forward with our main to 28 Days Later. Now in the sequel, we kind of get initial outbreak that we never got from the first movie, which I think was really cool. And man, does it spread fast. Oh my God. Ooh, it's so good. Because people turn so quickly within seconds and then they start raging themselves. I mean, it's just such a fast domino effect. And this is one of the more terrifying sequences of just how quickly shit hits the fan and everyone's lives are in danger. Oh my gosh.
Especially because they trapped everyone in that one spot. And it's like, if one person is infected, everyone is just infected at that point. There's no way anyone can get out of that scenario without being infected. And this is also where we see the father is knowing what he's doing because he is stalking. Mm-hmm. He is stalking those children.
It's so good.
Yeah. Again, they must have been severely underfunded because, again, there's no guards at these doors. They have the one main door, but he's banging his head against the other door trying to break in. And it's like, where are the guards? Why aren't they protecting these civilians? They just herded them like cattle, and they just kind of left them for dead almost.
It's so bad. I feel like once they got to containment, they were like, "Oh, we're good." And now when this shit hits the fan, they're nowhere near prepared for what's happening at this moment. It's so good.
Like,
it's so chaotic and
heals at I don't know, blockages along the way. Yeah. This is my brain. I'm like, no zombie is getting in or out. We are barricade after barricade after barricade. You've had 4 weeks to think this through. That's more than enough time, I guess, to at least protect yourself.
This scene, my claustrophobia was just
the scene in the
triggering. Yeah, and especially when the dad breaks in, and it's so heartbreaking because Andy is like, my dad is in here, and he's not saying like, oh, the virus. He's saying my dad, and it's like, oh man, this poor freaking kid. Yeah, so he's smart. He escapes. He gets through into the ductwork, the air vents, which I think was really smart. And this is another. We're just getting banger after banger scene. This is the weapons free scene where they start picking people off, and then General Stone says, "Weapons free. Just kill everyone on the ground." And it's that kind of moment where your heart sinks, where you kind of knew maybe it was going to happen and that they were going to make that decision. But another kind of morally gray, you don't know what the right thing is because you see how fucking quickly it spreads. And I can't blame him. I really can't. And again, he's a general. He's not down on the ground. He's not boots on the ground with these people. He doesn't know these people. He's just kind of looking at the situation from a top-down approach. So it's hard for me to blame him for making that call. That's got to be such a tough call.
I think if I were him, I probably would make the same call because at that point, it's getting worse. You have to do something. You can't let it get.
You have to contain it.
You have to contain it, and if that means like taking out people that aren't infected, then that's kind of what you're going to have to do in order to contain this, because you don't want to be like, you don't want it to get out, and you know how fast it spreads. So it's just he made the right call.
He made the best call he could under the circumstances. Again, they were woefully unprepared. I mean, once they broke free from that cafeteria or wherever they were in, they were just out on the street and they were just running through the streets. Like you said, Oriana, there was no containment zones, there was no blockades or anything. So it was next to impossible to be able to kind of pick off just the raged people. So, yeah, I mean, at that point, it's like, just mow them down. What do you think,
And
Ant?
they do. Well, it's like Scarlett's character even says to the kid, she's like, unfortunately, like their last resort is extermination, and that's what they're resorting to. And I like how you see the contrast, Jerry Renner Doyle versus the other sergeant, where Jerry Renner, he like starts killing a few innocent civilians, and he has that moral like realization, like I'm not gonna kill a kid, so he leaves his post. And then you cut to the other guy, he's like fucking like boom, 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 boom. I'll kill a kid, I'll kill a baby, I don't care. He's going. So you see it right then in that scene. I like how they show the two different, army soldiers are like, they're like, one of them's feeling conflicted, the other one's like, fuck it, I gotta do what I gotta do. So I like that. And it's kind of like neither of them are really wrong. They're just following orders, and the other guy just can't follow through. So I like how it's giving you questions to think about. It's not like one person's bad and one person's good. It's just a really fucked up situation all around.
Jeremy Renner in this scene is awesome. His facial acting when he comes to the realization, like, what the hell am I doing? I can't do this. And he decides to not only not shoot Andy, and because he's a kid, but because he knows once he goes onto the ground, he's pretty much going to be left for dead. I mean, the orders were already out. Anyone on the ground, military or not, is going to get sniped and picked off. So he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was getting himself into. So, I mean, talk about a hero. But yeah, his facial acting in this sequence is like, you realize why he's an Oscar-nominated actor.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
He's a better character than father. No,
Oh my god.
I like that because because he's military, he's still a human. And so he's been given this order to take out everyone. And when he sees Andy and he's like, I can't do it. And if that means that I have to go down there with other civilians and that means my own death, then so be it, because I can't morally do that. And, kudos to him because he stuck to his morals. Killed him in the end, but he stuck to it.
Sacrifice. He's a sacrifice himself. So good. That's a great shot, like a great stunt of him being like blowtorched on fire. Oh my god, it's so good.
And I was like, he was just pushing the car, and I was like, I was like, just get in.
I know.
Just get in really quickly.
I really didn't. I knew he was gonna die. Obviously, Nolan said like once he made that choice, I'm like, oh, you're a goner. But I almost like rooting for him the whole time to make it with them, and nobody makes it with them, which makes it even more, heartbreaking.
Yeah, my nitpick with just because I love his character so much, and I think he was a standout. I do think he maybe could have lasted longer. I would have hoped to see him last towards the end, because again, we don't really get so. We finally get the whole group kind of gets together, right? So he meets the kids. We didn't say that Andy met back up with Tammy and Scarlett, and then he meets them, and now they're kind of all on the ground level trying to escape this zone together. But we're like well into the movie before we get this kind of ragtag group of people. So we don't get a lot. We have one scene with the carousel where it's kind of slowed down, and we kind of get a little bit of characters talking to one another, but it's go, 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 and then, he gets it. And I think it's a little premature because I wanted to see more of his character. I think he was definitely a standout. I mean, again, Rose Byrne, I love Rose Byrne. I like her character, Scarlett. I think she was a little underutilized, as well as General Stone. I get he kind of served his purpose once Code Red happened and everything, but especially Rose Byrne's character, I think they could have utilized her a little more. And dare I say, I care about Tammy and Andy, and I care about Doyle. I don't really care about Scarlett as much. I understand her heart's in the right place, but I feel like she could have used a little extra screen time. I don't know how you guys feel, but it kind of, that's one of my nitpicks. Once they're all together, I'm kind of not really feeling it as much, especially compared to the first movie.
Yeah,
I get so sad when Scarlett dies.
Oh, yeah. Fall. I don't I remember when I first watched this, just being really attached to the kids, and especially because, everything they go through with their mom, now their dad is stalking them. Um, Doyle, just because he's that good guy, he's that hero, and you're like,
Right.
you deserve to live because you're sacrificing yourself. I don't know if I was as connected to Scarlett, but I definitely wanted her to be able to help with the cure. I wanted her to survive so that she can fulfill what she was trying so hard to do, which was, con- con- which was to cure the virus. But
Right.
I just, was I
So were
super
you
attached?
rooting for that happy ending? Did you think that there was a possibility that we could get, like, that she could help Andy escape the island and we'd have, like, a cure? Like, that was on the table for you? Because I
I
don't
felt like
remember where my head was at.
I I felt like she had to be, because I was like, oh, how are these kids ever
Yeah.
going to make it without at least an adult? So I felt like if one of the adults were going to die, we already saw Doyle get,
Yeah.
torched. So I thought she would have potentially made it. So when the subway scene came out, it was just, yeah, it was a little surprising, but scary, because that's where we get the night
My
vision.
God. It's the best Silence of the Lambs right there. But I agree. I thought that since Doyle went and he already got into contact with Flynn to beat them with the helicopter,
Yeah.
that the first time I just assumed that Scarlett was gonna make him, like, oh, we're good. Like, she's gonna make it with him. So then, I guess to your point, I didn't really realize how much I cared about her until she died. So then I was like, oh, I do care about her. I'm really upset that she didn't make it because I just assumed, I'm like, horror movie logic, it's gonna be the woman and the kids who make it, and she doesn't. So I'm like, oh, I really did want her to, I did want to have a happy ending with them at least to make it out. And obviously, I knew there was going to be something left open ended at the end, which it still is. But I really wish she made it, and I think her sequence, oh, that night vision is so good. It's so good.
Terrifying.
And she, to her credit, I know you say she needed more screen time, but she fights for those. She literally sacrifices herself just as much as Doyle for them for different reasons because she knows that he's the hope, but she screams at them to run when she's getting smashed in the head. So I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, Scarlett. So
Yeah.
I do like Scarlett a lot.
No, I mean, she's not. I don't, like, hate the character, but I think
I know
the
what you're
fact
saying,
that
yeah.
she's so in that pigeonhole of being that scientist, and really the only reason, I mean, she tells Doyle when they're talking to each other, she's like, their lives are more important than us. But it's
Yeah.
strictly from a scientific standpoint. She has no connection to the kids themselves because they don't really explore that. I think they could have benefited from her maybe having more scenes connecting with them before the outbreak happened and stuff, and she could have connected on an emotional level. But she was strictly scientific, and after everything we've seen over the last movie and a half, we know that things are fucked, and it's almost like you're a little too optimistic, lady. Like, let's kind of, like, as viewers, you're kind of, I don't know if this is gonna work out. So I think we could have used that extra layer of her kind of like as a motherly figure to them in a way, because they did lose their mom, but we didn't really get that extra layer. So that's why I kind of just feel like she wasn't as utilized as I wanted her to be. But no, I mean, still a heartbreaking death. That sequence is awesome. Before we get to that, the helicopter scene. When
Fuck
Flynn
yeah.
just does the most badass thing
Dude.
you could do with a helicopter.
I mean, I said the budget's $15 million. I feel like with all these sequences, I'm like, how is this movie not like $80 million to $100 million budget? Like, I did not expect that in this movie. See, like, them plowed down with a helicopter. It looks really good too. It's so good.
The way it's
Yeah.
just like, shh, and then it's just like blood
Yeah.
stain over.
I mean, that's a fist pump moment right there.
Well, first we get our no-name guy who's part of this group that
Oh, he dies.
he's cannon
Yeah, what's
fodder.
his name again?
He jumps onto the helicopter, and I'm thinking to myself, if this guy gets
Sam.
Flynn killed, I swear to freaking God. Like,
I know.
But I'm glad that Flynn was like, no, F you, dude. I'm shaking you off, and I'm going to kill all these infected in the process. Oh, yeah, he's a badass. I love Flynn.
I feel like, what is that? I don't think we ever find out his name in that.
I think it was Sam. I think
it
the
Sam?
guy was Sam. Yeah.
Sam, well, I mean, and then
So I
Sam,
remember, yeah.
I don't
his
know.
character too just shows you someone is like scared and they want to leave. They're not going to listen and just be like, oh no,
The
don't go on that
desperation,
helicopter,
right.
don't go get
Yeah.
saved. Like, so that character choice just adds another real element to this film.
Yeah.
It's like,
And again, with
someone
Flynn,
like-
I mean, Flynn's eyes above the whole time. He's not down on the ground with Doyle. he's right too, because he's telling Doyle, like, if I bring these people, they're gonna shoot me out of the sky. Like, what? I can't risk. Like, I have a family. I can't risk my own safety. So I get where he's coming from. He's like, listen, I'm gonna bring you, Doyle, because you're my pal, but these other people, I mean, and he's not wrong. You know, he's not wrong. But you know, Doyle being, I mean, he's the big hero of the film. I mean, he's the one who convinces Flynn eventually to bring the kids, even though that turns out to be not the right call. But Doyle is really the only one in this movie that's very like unselfish. We talked about Scarlet, but it was really just to find the cure. I mean, Doyle really, really does care about these kids, and that's kind of why it was a little heartbreaking to see his death, because I wanted to see him kind of, even if he dies, just kind of make it more towards the end with them and kind of hand them off at the end, but we didn't get that. So yeah, I think that's really the next sequence, right? We get the Doyle death with the gas.
Doyle death, and then that iconic, the night vision. The damn Don. Fucking Don. Doing that to my girl Scarlet.
So this night vision, how do you guys feel about this strategy? I think this is a never split up moment. You have the night vision, Scarlet. Lead the way. Have them like hold on to you. Like, why are you trying to play this like guessing game where it's like move right, move left? It's like, and it's funny every time she like yells at them. They just like, I love the acting of Imogen Poots. We didn't really talk about her, but she's
so good.
A really good actor, and she's why I kind of relate to these kids, because her acting is really good in this film. So kudos to her, and I love her in other stuff too. But I love when she's yelling at them and they just freeze and they look back at her and like, the fuck? Like, we can't see anything. What can you help us here? What are you doing?
Yeah,
I would have a panic attack. That's all I know.
I'm just like, why didn't you go ahead of them? Like,
I know.
Yeah, like,
you're
grab my shirt.
Bodies upon bodies are there. Why are you telling them go left, go right, go like, and knowing that they're not gonna like fall down?
Like, how about you go first and you clear the way and move the bodies, and like, come on. So that was kind of a silly moment, but it made for an awesome horror sequence. So and go through this sequence with us. I love the shot of what's his name walking across the frame. It's so creepy.
That was a scene that like got me when I was like, whoa, like, because
it still gets me.
And then
he's so good.
I forgot about him, actually. I forgot that the dad was affected at this point because so much happened. Like Doyle, I think we skipped over Doyle's death, but we just so much had to happen at this point that I legit forgot the dad was still infected, stalking them. So it was just like another thing to like, oh crap. And you're just reminded and brought back into this awful scenario where you're never safe.
I think it's smart that, like the dad kind of be like, oh, we didn't see him die or he escaped, but we don't really see him for like, whatever, 20, 30 minutes. So you kind of like everything else is blowing up. So then when he comes back, it's like, he really is on a mission to take out he's just a fucker.
He
wants to come back and get them. He's so
I think it was smart because, like you said, Ant, the last time we see him was in the streets, but you don't know if that was real or not. So you think maybe Andy saw him as a vision because then Doyle comes in the frame and then he's gone. So you don't even know if that's actually him or not, or if it's just Andy. Because we saw previously that Andy has like nightmares and visions like of his mom and stuff. So part of you thinks it's just Andy kind of losing grip on reality, but no, he's after them and he follows them a long way. I mean, to make it all the way to that subway. He must have been really determined. And we didn't even talk about the carpet bombing, how they bombed the entire island.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, with the score playing and everything, it's just, oof. That was
so happy they brought back the same score, too, by the way. That's so important to these movies. And I'm assuming it'll be back. Yeah. When we go see it this weekend. But,
yeah, we get some close-up shots of people just getting bombed on the streets. I mean, this movie is heavy. It's really, it's in your face, but it's heavy.
And not only does he ambush and brutally kill Scarlet, but he bites Andy too. So then you're like, I really hope that Andy's like his mom. So you have that right away. Like, oh, Andy's going to be tag team dad and son after the daughter? Like, is that how it's going to end? But it goes the other way. But at first I'm like, oh shit, it's going to be the whole family after poor Tammy. You know what I mean? But it goes different. But again, it's just, I like how Tammy is forced to obviously kill Don. And she steps up to the plate. It's so good that like the last moment. I love it.
and she calls out to him to stop. And in that moment, he hears Alice, and he thinks it's Alice, his wife, and that's, I think, what gets him to lift his head and go after Tammy. So again, it's another reminder that he's still in there, and that he's still like, he's just very, obviously he's got the rage virus, but it's still Don. It's still scumbag Don in there.
Scumbag Don, I like it.
Also, he waited because he didn't attack them when they were out in the streets with Doyle and Scarlett. He waited till they were vulnerable in the dark to attack. So it was kind of calculated, which means he, again, still is in there, which means these rage, like this virus is not completely taking over your thought process. You are just motivated more with
Yeah, and that makes me wonder, kind of in the moment, I'm thinking maybe the virus affects people differently, where a lot of people are just kind of mindless zombies, but he has more of himself to where he can restrain from attacking, because even in the night vision scene, he's walking past the camera. He's not instantly going for them. He waits until she's distracted, and then he kind of jump scares her. So yeah, I mean, it makes you think, does this virus affect people differently? Which is very, I mean, that just opens up a whole can of worms. I mean, we can get into that. It does open up.
And it's like, is it because he just got it from kissing her with the saliva and wasn't bitten? Like, it's you have so many questions with.
Yeah, well, she did bite him. She did bite him.
Well, she bit him, but yeah.
But it was like yeah, I know what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, she bit his lip or whatever. But I'm just like, it's crazy.
It's stuff that I really hope they kind of explore again in this new movie. There's so many different possibilities that they can go. I mean, how is this virus still around 28 years later? We're going to find out. Are people just carriers? I mean, it's so cool to think about, but I can't wait for that.
I can't wait.
Yeah, so, okay, we get the climax of the film, and she shoots Don. Finally, Woo. Don's down. Down goes Don. And they make it to the stadium. And this was, again, like kind of a touching moment, but quickly turns sour when we get to the ending credits. But Flynn is there, man. He had a promise, and he's there, and he's waiting. And of course, Doyle doesn't make it, but he still brings the kids with him. And yeah, we get our happy ending for like 5 seconds.
literally 5 seconds.
So you guys agree that it's Andy's the one who brings the virus over, right? I mean, he's the reason that we get the infected in France and stuff.
Well, didn't they also escape that? So there was didn't some of them get out though, right?
They didn't leave the island. They may have escaped the sector.
Yeah.
But the only person that's confirmed to have left the island, like via helicopter or plane or whatever, is Andy.
Is them three. Yeah.
So yeah.
I think he is responsible. I mean, maybe, who knows? Maybe they'll mention it in the newest one, like what exactly happened to Andy or how like him getting off kind of contributed. But I think he did, because no one at this point, even the kids, don't know they're immune. They don't know that their mom was immune.
Right.
And so, I mean, I guess maybe they can kind of figure it out now that Andy was bit.
Didn't Tammy find out? I thought Tammy knew. Didn't?
Oh, I think Scarlett may have said something on.
I think earlier she told Tammy that the reason. Yeah, so she knew. So it makes you wonder, like, did she not tell anyone because she thought they were gonna kill Andy? Did they try to just like hide it? So I mean, that's kind of where my mind goes. Like, she's trying to protect her brother. She's not gonna say anything.
I think.
Well, she sees in his eyes right away that he's infected, and she must, knows right away. She obviously wants to keep him calm. But do you think that the three of them are dead because the radio, it's Flynn's radio and the abandoned helicopter that like they're asking for help? So do you think that they're dead already, the three of them?
Well, I mean, it's definitely implied that Flynn is somehow dead. I don't know if Andy kind of caused them to crash, but I don't know. I mean, there's so many different things going on in this ending sequence.
I don't think we're gonna get a straight answer about Andy.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
Hoping probably not, but maybe it was a delayed infection. Like maybe he didn't know how to control it as well as his mom did and bit him, and maybe he bit his sister and they just went down, or maybe the military saw them and went down.
It wasn't a happy ending. It wasn't happy for them at all. I love the shot of them running towards the Eiffel Tower. Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah, that's so creepy. What a way to end the film.
So the virus has spread. So now we have
virus
to wait
has
28
spread.
years later.
Yes.
This coming weekend, guys. I can't wait.
I'm so excited.
Yes. So that
Let's see if they're 3 for 3, which I think they will be.
Yep.
I think so.
So yeah, that was 28 weeks later. And I love how it kind of is flipping it on its head. So in these movies, especially in the first movie, you have the island that's infected and everywhere else is safe. Now it looks like in this movie, you have an island is safe and everywhere else is infected. So it's kind of flipping that whole island premise from what it seems like. So yeah, hopefully it's gonna be, I trust Danny Boyle. I think it's gonna be a good solid flick. I mean, who knows is it gonna be as good as 28 Days Later? I mean, that's an all-timer for me. I don't know if it's gonna be that level. Obviously, Oriana, it's a 10 out of 10 for you. We still have to do our scores for this film though, but before we get to that, let's do our never split up moments. Oriana, do you have one? Do you want to go first? We usually let our guests go first.
Yeah.
Let me think about it really. I feel like my never split up moment would be probably with the dad and the mom. Like, why would you split up at this beginning? I mean, that either die with her or just kind of, or maybe don't let her go grab the kid. I don't know. Maybe I feel like I have another never split up, but I'll have to think about it. So maybe someone else go first.
Okay. Annie, why don't you go?
Yeah, I was gonna go with the kids going back, but like I can't. They're kids and like emotions were running high, and they want something from their mom. Like again, that was really stupid how they did that because technically the kids are responsible because they wrote this, so whatever. But I'm gonna go with Don kissing his wife because you can tell obviously that there's because he doesn't get the confirmation that she's a carrier but asymptomatic. Like Nolan said, we find out. Like, as a split scene, really. We find out separately at the same time. So, there's clearly something wrong. Wait, first of all, she's been alone for so long. And also, you did what you did to her. So, no matter what, don't kiss her. So, there's something wrong with her, and you just go give her a big smooch. And it leads to the downfall of the entire movie. So, I'm going to put that Don gave his wife a big smooch.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. Do you want me to go next, or do you have one, Oriana?
I have one. I have Doyle. Okay. Doyle's death scene. Like, I really wish he would have just gotten into the car. Like, once he would have pushed it out instead of just standing. I know that they were coming, and they're building that anticipation with them coming in the fog with their torches. But I really wish they could have just pushed the car out a little further for them to kind of get some distance, for enough for them to start the car and then him hop in. That I don't think he needed to die at that moment. I really think he would have been able to at least run, towards the car, even if it started go, and then, escape the torches. So that would be never split up from the 3.
And then he could have told Scarlett that she needed to lead the way in the night vision scene.
He would have handled that so differently. Yeah. They would have been in and out of there. So yeah. Okay, those are 2 good moments. I'm going to go with, and I mentioned it before how ridiculous it is, the fact that Don has full access to every facility, the medical facility. It's really a larger picture. I'm going with NATO and the Army for their lack of protocol and security. Yeah, but the clearance of Don as a civilian is just so impractical. That would never happen for them. I get he would have access to the building he's living in, but to have access to these restricted zones with no guards or anything is just a little unbelievable. So I'm going to go with the Army kind of giving Don full access, and that's what kind of jump-started this whole infection.
Oh, I like that. I like these 3 moments. They're very different. I like it.
Okay, yeah, let's get to the scores without further ado. Who wants to go first? You want me to go first?
Do you guys have your scores ready?
Yeah. I mean, I usually wing it. I can do it.
I know, right? In the moment, yeah.
I'll go first. So Yeah, this movie's a lot of fun, Anthony. Like you said, it's super rewatchable because it's so action-packed. You have scenes of just really intense gore and violence, and then you have these scenes that are very terrifying for different reasons. You have the night vision scene. You have the scenes that are terrifying because of the implications of them. So I think it builds on those layers really well. I think it's a great sequel because it builds on the first movie and it has a different approach. We get 28 days and then 28 weeks later, I think is really clever. I love how they did that. Anthony, you said the score, the fact that they carried the score over is a huge, huge necessity. I think without those sweeping visuals with the score going on, it wouldn't feel as connected to the first movie. I thought they did a really good job. I don't think it's at the same level as 28 Days Later, just because I think that movie is a borderline masterpiece. And there's no flaws. I do have some nitpicks. I told you maybe the characters weren't handled perfectly, but that's such a minor thing when you talk about a movie like this that's just fun and action-packed and gory and violent and scary all at the same time. So I think they nailed it. I'm going to give this an 8.3. 8.3.
Okay.
Love it.
Who's going next?
Yeah, I'll go next. I love that this movie is so different than the first one because I don't think that you could replicate what Danny Boyle did in the OG. And usually, like, you know, Halloween and Scream, I love when we have sequels with the same characters that we, like, just fall in love with them more. And it's kind of like the same, not the same thing, but we just delve more into the characters. This movie, we didn't have that. We don't have the characters from the first one. So I appreciate that they took such a different approach, whereas like the first one's more like this is cinema, and the second one is more like this is popcorn horror entertainment, but it's dark. It still keeps the darkness and the edginess, and it's not afraid to go to really, really bleak places. And I appreciate about this. And I just love how just batshit insane it goes. So I love them both the same for very different reasons. So I'm also gonna give this one an 8 because I gave the OG an 8. And I feel like maybe when I rewatch it a couple more times, these both might increase a little bit. But I just think they're really awesome, awesome movies. I need to go back to it more than I should. And I don't know, from what I'm hearing and seeing about this new one, I think it's going to continue the trend. So I'm very happy that we're going to have a very consistent, hopefully, franchise on our hands here. So they're both really great movies. 8.
Okay.
All right. Well, mine, I gave the first one a 10. This one, I love it. I love it. I think it's one of the best sequels to follow up an original. I don't feel as connected to these characters as I do in the first one, but I love the action and I love learning more about this virus. I love that we got a little community and seeing how they were rebuilding. I love just getting to relive a new experience with the virus, because we're coming back in with this safe zone that is ultimately just blown to smithereens. But I'm going to give this a 9, just not too far down, but it still holds up for me. I'm still going to rewatch it. I'm still going to recommend. I love the gore in it. There's moments where I'm like, this is fucking wild. And I feel like it follows up the original, but I'm not as connected to those characters, but it's still a great film. So, I mean, a 9 is pretty high. So, especially for a sequel, it's hard to kind of get people to really appreciate a sequel, especially nowadays. We have so many sequels to things that are like, they're good, but I feel like I don't even hold them in high regards nearly as with the originals. And this one I do. I hold it still in a high regard. So yeah, 9 feels low for me, but I can't put it at a perfect 10 because I don't feel the same way about that film as I do for 28 Days.
No, you don't have to apologize. 9 is very good. I think that's your lowest score so far, right? What did you give The Loved Ones? I think you gave that close to a 10 too, right?
Yeah.
So no, 9 is great. That's awesome. So 3 really good scores. We had a really good time. I know this movie is not as adored though. So let us know if this movie doesn't work for you. I want to hear why it doesn't work. And I get it's not for everyone. It's so different in its tone. and in the way it approaches the virus and everything. So it is kind of jarring if you watch these back to back. But I think they nailed it. I think we all agree that they nailed it. And
Oh yeah,
we can't
100%.
wait for 28 years later.
Woo.
This episode's releasing, I guess, a day or two before that movie comes out. So get your popcorn ready. Go see it in theaters. We're going to cover that movie probably next month sometime.
Yep.
And yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Until next time, guys, this is the Never Split Up podcast. You can find us on our social media pages at Never Split Up Pod. Oriana, shout out your channels one more time where they can find you.
Oh yeah, you could find me at Oriana Nichelle, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And then Horror Catacombs is my letterbox where you can find all of my weekly lists for the releases and where you can watch them.
Thank you so much for coming on once again. We always really enjoy having you on. It's a great discussion, and we can't wait to have you on again. Until next time, guys, this is the Never Split Up podcast. We'll see you later. Bye.